I don't have any words. I feel speechless.
You've been super busy, and I know that you have this mental health virtual event coming up, and obviously we know mental health is so important to you. So why did you want to get involved in this, and how can people get involved in this?
Well, it's good to have relationships. You know, a friend of mine that I've known for 15 years, Wale Ogunleye, a former NFL star, has transitioned into being the head of sports and entertainment division at UBS. And I'm so glad that they're open to having the conversations, because there are so many people who wear the suits, you know, who are in corporate America, and they're having some challenges. They're struggling. They don't know how to process their pain. They're successful, but they don't know how to process, you know, things that they've gone through.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I know that you have released a new book, which is wonderful. Congratulations. And I know it had to be super, I would imagine it had to be difficult at times to be so vulnerable with what you've been through. I mean, did you feel like that?
Absolutely, you know, but for the past 3 years, I've had no choice but to be vulnerable, because there is a difference between being transparent. Transparent, you just talk about what you've been through. Being vulnerable, you share about how you feel, you know, and so it's so good to be able to be strong enough, or just say, you know what, I'm not feeling okay today, or I don't like the way you responded. It made me feel this way. And so we're so quick to tell people what we didn't like, but sometimes for a lot of us, it's difficult to also go a step further and say, it made me feel really sad. It made me feel insecure, or, you know, something to that effect.
Sure. Did it take you a while to get to that point where you were comfortable being like, okay, I feel this way, rather than keeping it kind of all closed in?
Absolutely. It took a while. You know, I probably didn't start being vulnerable till about 2017, 2018-ish. And of course I have my therapist to help with that, because it's like I can feel it, but I didn't know how to articulate it. Yeah. And she said, well, just say that. You can say, I don't have any words. I feel speechless, instead of just not saying nothing. You can tell a person, I'm speechless, or wow, I feel overwhelmed with this news, or I'm grateful you shared this news. Those are feelings.
Sure.
You know,
that had to be a lot for you to carry, because you said that you've been dealing with this for a very long time, even, you know, pre-Destiny's Child, pre-everything. Like, this has been something that it had to be a lot to carry.
Yes, you know, I've been dealing with it since like the 7th grade, but sometimes depending on your culture, or depending on the family you grew up with, you learned how to carry it.
Sure.
You know, so I was carrying it from like the 7th grade until in my 30s, before there was an actual, like, oh no, that's called depression. Yeah. Like, oh, wow, it is. So it is, or, you know, and I think people might be afraid of that. Like, what if it is depression? That's not the end of the world. It just means just how you would treat, you know, a broken ankle or a different ailment. That's how you would treat depression as well.
And what was that moment? I know you opened up about it, but what was that moment where you realized, or kind of where you hit rock bottom and you're like, I do need this help?
Well, when I first was told it was depression, I was like, a sigh of relief. And then like, wow, it took me a long time to figure this out. And I hate that, you know, I got the help when my responses to certain things shouldn't have been that severe. And I think that's when a person should know you need some help. Like, maybe 10 years ago, you wouldn't have responded that way, but when it's compounded and you keep taking these hits, eventually you're going to explode, because you're tired of being the emotional punching bag. You're tired of people maybe taking you for granted. You know, you're tired. And before you know it, you explode, and you defile people around you that had nothing to do with what was going on.
Yeah. Did people around you know that you were depressed or suffering?
If they did, they didn't say anything.
Yeah. Was that hard too? Were you like, you know, kind of crying for help a little bit in some ways? And you're like, why doesn't anybody recognize this? Or were you just like, so, you know, used to kind of pulling it together for everybody?
Yeah, you're used to pulling it together. I don't even know if I was crying for help, because there, you know, when you, like I said, these conversations are good in the corporate world, because when you go in, you have it all together. You're not crying for help. You're just, maybe a person you're in a relationship with, or maybe your best friend might know it. You know, we can talk about, girl, I have a headache. I've been having this headache for 2 days. And you say, girl, you better take some Advil for that. Versus, oh, I've been really down. And it's almost like a person might not know what to say, you know, because sometimes we're just not equipped or given the tools. Now, when somebody tells me, you know, I've been really struggling in this area, I'm already a solutions-based person. I want to be Mrs. Fix-It, you know, so all I can offer someone is to listen. And then when they go a step further and say, hey, what do you think I should do? That's when I say, I think you should have somebody process this pain with you.
Yeah.
And it's okay.